Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Today's episode is a review on Wagon Christ, aka Luke Vibbert's 2001 album on Ninja Tune Records called Musipal. This is their fourth record. This is Luke's fourth record as Wagon Christ, first record on Ninja Tunes. The previous three records were on, first two were on Rising High, and then the third one was on Astroworks. And then he had a couple records on, I think the next album was on Ninja Tunes, and then he's kind of moved on to some other labels after this. Luke Vibbert is probably one of the most talented producers that I listen to and have followed probably for last close to probably about 30 years now. He's kind of like my alter ego when it comes to like listening to like urban stuff or kind of more drum and bass and jungle he does, and acid, and he does sort of a down tempo, sort of a little bit of breaks and a little bit of breakbeat, a little bit of drum and bass, also in under the Wagon Christ name, which is my favorite of his names. He also does drum and bass under Plug, and then he does acid under his real name, Luke Vibbert, and then he also does disco and sort of a house variant of disco under the name Carrier District, which I've followed, pretty much all the way since his beginning in 1994. The first record I think some of the first record compilations on Rising High had Wagon Christ, so I knew his name pretty early on. The first record I think I bought from him was probably Tally Ho in '97, and then I obviously went back and followed and bought his first two on Rising High, and then just followed him ever since. And he's probably one of the most creative producers, and again, I mentioned all the styles he does. He's one of the most creative and well-rounded producers. Also, he's a really strong DJ. He's great at sampling. You'd hear it on this record. I kind of compare him to like a DJ Shadow, but I don't really, I don't necessarily listen to DJ Shadow. Of course, I've heard his most popular album. I think it was '95 or '96. Was in. I'm missing the name of the record. I have it here somewhere. It's the only DJ Shadow record I own. It's is it Introducing? It has the people looking in the record store on the cover. It's obviously, probably a landmark album to many when it comes to sampling, and there's a lot of hip hop grooves in there, and down tempo and stuff like that. And that album's considered one of the probably the all time best sampling records, one of the best all time sampling records, and one of the best, maybe more popular, maybe urban sort of records for electronic music. I'm not huge on DJ Shadow. Luke Vibbert is my DJ Shadow, because he does a lot more than just DJ Shadow does. And I don't mind DJ Shadow stuff, but Luke Vibbert's on another level. There's nothing like, I think one of the things I really like about, especially about the Wagon Christ stuff, since I'm reviewing the Wagon Christ album Musipal, is he's so, not only is he creative, he's good with sampling, he's unique, the sounds he uses are very different, and but he's also has like a quirkiness to his music, and the cover is a great example of the visual, that it has these little, it's kind of like a cartoon. It says Musipal up there next to the name. Sort of has a little robot down here. It sounds like how it looks. It's very cartoonish, very fun, very clever. It's like its own universe. It's like if you if an electronic album sort of was a soundtrack for a comic strip, like this would probably be it. It's not overly funny to where it's trying to be like it's trying to be too clever for its own good, but it's just clever and it's kind of fun. It's not funny. But it's maybe not a good example is a comic strip, but maybe that's because the cartoon is it kind of gives me that feeling. But it's just a lot of fun, and his music is great background in urban music, and it's got hip hop and breaks and down tempo. There's some ambient stuff in there. You know, he's just all over the board with like breaks and drum and bass, and he's got a jungle background, and he's heavy into like acid house, and I mean the guy is super talented on so many levels, and he's been super talented for over 30 years now. He's probably is about 51 years old, so you know I think about to what he was making when he was 18, 19 years old. It's just like wow, he was making that stuff in actually was he born in 53 or 63? Let me check that. I want to see if he's maybe a little older than I thought. Born in 73. No, yeah, born in 73. That's what I thought. So he's pushing, yeah, he's 51 years old. So, you know, I'll do a review on Throbbing Pouch and Fat Lab Nightmare sometime here. And, you know, but, wow. Like, if he was doing that stuff when he was 18 and 19 and 20, like that's some amazing stuff. So he was born in Cornwall, UK, which, of course, is also the home of Aphex Twin. So these guys know each other well, and talk about two stars in the same city coming up. Like I would imagine like Luke Vibert would be a lot more popular and probably more of a household name in electronic music if it weren't for Aphex Twin. But man, when I'm talking about like creative, like Luke Vibert is on that level. Like he's that clever. He's got really good chops in the studio, and I remember him like making. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, but he like making different instruments and stuff, like actually soldering and doing schematics and stuff like that. Actually making some of his own equipment, probably with Aphex Twin. They probably might have that in common. I thought I remember hearing some stuff like that. So he's very talented, very hands on, and he's a great DJ. He's just so well rounded, and it comes out in his music and his different styles. And that's one great thing I like about him is he's not pigeonholed with one particular sound and one particular groove. He's just all over the place. Why did I decide to review this album today? I was just, I was pretty busy today, but I came home. It's about 9:30, and I wanted to do just some kind of video today. And I was like, oh well, let me do an album review on this since I went to my brother's for dinner, and this was the album that I picked out of my collection, and I put it in my car and played it there and back. And so since I already heard it and kind of gone over it in my head, I could sit down and sort of review it. So then I just had to kind of skim through the songs and remember them from a couple hours ago, playing them on the way back, and sort of that way I could do a score on them. So yeah, I wanted to do a review on Musipal. No reason why. Any particular reason why that I picked to do it. It's just because I was playing it today and I wanted to do a video today. So yeah, so I'm doing Musipal by Wagon Christ. So I'm going to pull up my notes here. There's 13 tracks on here. It's a pretty long album, 62 minutes and a half. Again, this is his first album on Ninja Tunes. The first track is called The Premise. A few notes I have. Really good intro, really creative sampling. It's really an example of how creative he is. It's a perfect example. The samples are just amazingly done, almost to the point where some of the other songs feel a little bit left out, but that's But that's the thing with Luke Vibert stuff is under Wagon Christ is some are a little bit sampled songs, a lot of samples going on in songs, and some of them are just creative beats he does and creative grooves he does and creative songs he makes, and it's kind of some of them have both, and so there's also that, so you can't really say, like the one song is just okay, he's a sampling person, or he just makes beats, or he just makes songs. Like he seems to like do a little bit here. Okay, I'll do a little bit of both here. It's just kind of whatever kind of come to his mind, and whatever works, I would imagine. But I think of all the songs on this album, since it's the first song on the album, like you can tell he put a little bit extra into this track when it comes to the creative sampling that he uses, and it's kind of a nice and tight track. It's only 3.5 minutes. It's a really cool urban groove. I got a solid 3 stars, so very very good track. The second track is called "Bend Over," which is actually a B-side on the single for this album. The single is called "Receiver," which is later on in the album, and this track "Bend Over" is also on the 4-track single, which I have over here somewhere. I think my Wagon Christ stuff is over there. But yeah, lots of creative changes. He uses all kinds of different sounds, which is really what makes him so unique. I mean, there's just some sounds have like some kind of like Japanese kind of sound, and sometimes just like a sitar, and some sounds like clanging, and he's just like, the samples that he uses are like super old too. Some of them are like instructional videos, like how to dance instructional videos. So, you'll hear a sample of some girl talking like, and now we turn over and take 2 steps, and it's like, and it's just he's just super creative in the way he kind of puts the samples out there on top of his really cool beats he makes. This one's really catchy. I got a solid 3 stars too. Very good. Track 3 is actually my favorite on the album. It's called Tomach. It's such a creative and brilliant keyboard. The bass line, the beat, the funky. It's funky. It's melodic. It's old school sounding. And it's smooth. It's just brilliant. I got a really solid 4 stars on this. This is my favorite track of the album. Unfortunately, the only track that gets 4 stars for me. There's quite a few that are close, but yeah, I just love this track. Track 4 and 5 are kind of long, pushing almost 7.5 minutes each. Track 4 is actually 5 is actually, yeah. Track 4 is almost 8 minutes long, so kind of a couple of long tracks here. It's fairly long album, 62 minutes. This track 4 is called "Thick Stew." He's a genius. I mean, I feel like I'm going to say this a few times, but he's just a genius at making string sounds work in his rhythms. It's amazing, and it puts a smile on your face and makes you happy, and they're kind of carefree, and sometimes they might be a little more groovy and serious, but not so much all the time. And maybe there's one here and there, but for the most time they're kind of yeah, just kind of cool, like urban grooves. It's just really, and you don't get, and you're not to the point where you're like, oh, this whole album has no singing. No, I mean there's so much sampling in it and voices almost in every song that it feels like there is. It's not really an instrumental album. What else about the song? Yeah, the genius that make the strange sounds and the cool beats and then work together, like that mix is almost like already a bonus that he does so well, and not only that, but then he can work a amazing like melodic part over the top, and it's just not only does cool beats, does cool sampling, makes a good groove, but then puts some like unique melody over it, and you're just like, that is really creative. This album is 2001 too. It's almost 25 years old. And it's still like Yeah, that's pretty cool. um, it's funky and weird, and it grooves on. It could go on. This track could go on a little long, but it still works. I got it at 3.5 stars. It's a very good song. Um, Track number 5 is called Natural Suction. It's an odd start. It's kind of a drum and bass forms, a little darkness on this one. It's really kind of a good jungle groove through it all. Stays pretty consistent. You might think at 7.5 minutes it gets kind of boring, but it's a nice jungle groove, and I think it's the only track that really kind of holds a groove for a couple minutes. And but it does it well, and I got it 3.25 stars. 6 is the title song for the album, Musipal. Or is it Musipal? Musipal? Probably Musipal, I suppose. It's the title song. It's, again, more creative beat making, all unique sounds. It's got a flute in it, jazz drum fill. It's just all over the place. I don't like this one as much. There's a couple towards here that they're okay to good, not bad. Nothing. For me to put like up to 3 stars on it or higher. So just stuff around like okay to good. I put it at 2.25 stars. 7 is called "It Is Always Now, All of It Is Now." It is always now, all of it is now. Strange song. Strange. It's okay. I got it 2 stars. I didn't really anything great about it. Nothing bad about it. Just okay. My least liked song on the album based on that rating. Then you got 8, which is the single for the album. It's called Receiver. It's catchy, really catchy. It's got this hoo ha through the beat, which is it sounds funny, but it is funny, and it's so creative, and it sounds like a theme song, like a funk theme song for some kind of like strange. I wouldn't say comedy necessarily, but I wouldn't say it's a drama. And it's not a cartoon. Maybe it could be a cartoon, but it just sounds like a funky theme song. I got it 3.25 stars. Really, really, very good song. Boney L is track number 9. It's kind of trippy jazz. It's only 2 minutes and 1 second long. I got it 2.5 stars. Chris Channa is track 10. It's a strange name. One of his most creative on the record. I have, and that's really all I put. It was 3.5 stars. Just super creative record track. Track 11 is called Tomorrow Acid. It's really this. I got the sickest acid groove and beat on the record. It's just a cool hook on the song. The piano hook at the end comes out more. I got it 3.75 song, so it's tied with the last track for my second favorite song on the album. It's a sick acid groove. It's just. It's got a really good snap on the snare, and it's funky. It's dope. If you played this out like at a club or something like that, you could play this at funk club. You play it at hip hop. You could play it electronic. Like it wouldn't matter where you play this. People would be like, "Wow, that's fucking dope." It's a fucking great. It's a great record. Got it really close to 4 stars. I feel like it was close to getting 4 stars. 4 stars is excellent, but to me, it's in the excellent range. But it's really close. I think if it was a little bit longer, because it's only like 3.5 minutes. Maybe if there was a melody in there a little bit more. It does have a piano hook toward the end, but not necessarily like a melody that I look for. But it's still a really strong track, really cool track. Track 12, so we're getting to the end here. Step to the Music, I got 2.75 stars. It's good, it's okay. It's 6 minutes and 30 seconds long. It's a little bit long. But it doesn't necessarily get boring. It's probably the most laid back track on the album. Not ambient or down tempo in any way, but it's still kind of got a break beat, but just kind of like a mellow break beat, but not really too much going on, but in a way it kind of makes it interesting. And I would imagine, I don't know how many times I played this album, but it's probably as much music as I have, there's always going to be a track on a record where I'm like, I listen to it, I'm like, I don't really remember this one a lot, but it's not bad. And I can imagine if since it is kind of more a longer one and kind of more somber, that I would probably get a little bit more out of it the more I listen to. But I don't. It's not a song I used to pick a lot, to play. And I used to play this album a lot, especially like DJing when it came out. A lot of my CDs I used to put like, I don't know if you can see it, but I would put pluses on the tracks that I really like and minuses on the tracks that I kind of like. As far as like playing out, not necessarily for just liking, because I like all the songs on the album. A couple are okay, but so it's just kind of stuff I would play out. I would put like little pluses next to them so I remember which track to play. But this one doesn't have anything on it, right? I didn't put anything on it. Yeah. And for me not to put anything on it, but it's probably because it's 6.5 minutes and it's not necessarily like either way, like a club track or with the melody or something. It's kind of long, so maybe that's probably why I didn't choose it. But I feel like I don't remember it that much. So if there's any track I would probably need to listen to a couple more times to get a better rating on it, could be this, because this could be a grower. I got 2 3/4 stars, and I could see it getting a little bit higher with a few more listens, but nothing like super grabbed me. But it was a nice kind of down tempo, kind of more chill track. Kind of felt a little bit out of place on this album. Well, not really out of place on this album, but yeah, just it's a good track. It's not nothing great though, I don't think. Then the last track is it called Percussion or Permission? Strange how it's pronounced. On the record, online it's Percussion, where I copied it from. The track listing. So this is the last track on the album. It's really creative sampling with the birds chirping. There's another song in this album that does kind of the same thing. I want to say it was earlier in the album, or maybe it was on Tally Ho. But there's a few samples in here otherwise that he also used on Tally Ho, and that kind of, I mean, it doesn't deter me anything if somebody uses a sample on a couple different albums, but it's a famous one he uses, which is in one of my favorite. Not famous. I mean, it's not really famous. It's famous to me. It's a song from the Tally Ho album. It's one of my favorite on that album, and it's a sample that he uses. It's kind of a famous sample. Where is it? Break. It's kind of a famous break sample. Not sure where it came from, but I've heard it in other records too. It's done creatively in this with the sampling of the birds chirping. It's really cool. It's cool guitar, cool jazzy sounds. Turns into a break beat. It's kind of summery. 5.5 minutes. Kind of one of the longer tracks. 4th longest on the album. I have it at 3 3/4 stars, so tied with Tomorrow's Acid for my second favorite song on the album. So yeah, so overall, when I think about the good of this album, again, very good sampling, excellent, clever beats, unique sounds are everywhere throughout the album. It's just kind of happy urban beats with creative sampling, and some of them have some cool and unique melodies. When I think about the tracks, so there's one 4-star track. I got 8 tracks that are 3-star and above. Most of them are actually. Well, there's a couple, I guess, that are 3 3/4 stars. Well, 2 of them are 3 stars. The rest are 3.5 or 3/4 stars. So I think there's 2 3 stars. Is it 4 3.5 stars, and then 2 3.25 songs. So it's a lot of, most of the album is on the very good side for sure. Solid production, solid mastering, dynamics are pretty strong. I really like the cover of the artwork is cool. Ninja Tune's a great label. When I think of the bad on here, maybe a touch too long. It's 62 minutes, 13 songs. I know Tally Ho, the album that comes before it, is long too, And I would imagine the first two, I don't remember the times, but those are a little bit more ambient. But I would imagine those tracks or albums are pretty long too. The next album, Sorry I Make You Lush, in 2004, Wagon Christ, I think that one cuts down to 10 or 11 songs and it's a little bit more concise. So I feel like if they maybe dropped some of the songs, a couple songs on here, that it would have been a little bit higher rating, maybe a little bit more cohesive. But that's always a hard thing to judge because you're just like, well, there's more music. Some of it's okay. I got four tracks that are 2 stars. On here, two to three and four quarter songs that are ranked that low, or I shouldn't say low, or ranked at that. Again, I'm more on the sliding scale of two being okay, where most people would think two is probably bad and three is okay and four is good and five is great. But mine scale's a little bit different. So I have two is okay, three is very good. So 2.5 is good, and I have, one at 2.5, one at 2 3/4, one at 2 1/4, just below good, so a little higher than okay, and then one at 2. So it's a good album. It's a good album. If I was to rank it with the other Wagon Christ albums, I mean, I think he has 7 Wagon Christ albums now. So if I was to guess, it would probably be in between 4 and 5, because Fat Lab Nightmare, Tally Ho, and Throbbing Pouch, Fat Lab Nightmare, and Tally Ho. And then Sorry I Make You Lush is probably really close to this. And then, so that would be 5 records. And then there's 2011's Tomorrow, which is solid, but it's the least one I know out of them, because I have it on vinyl and I don't get a chance to play it as much as all the other ones I have on CD of the 7 albums. And then the last one was 2020, which is probably around 5 or 6. I want to say I like this one a little bit better than that one. So I'm guessing this is probably 5th, 4th or 5th or 6th, somewhere around 4 to 6, somewhere around that. Probably 4 to 5, I would guess. So it's not necessarily one of his best, but I really like it. This album is very familiar though, because I used to DJ these tracks out a lot in 2001 at lounges that I would play at, and so that it has like a lot of special memory for me because, in like 90, I don't know, maybe like 98, 99 to like 2004 is when I first started DJing out. Like at lounges and restaurants and things like that, and so I do kind of have a special memory of Tally Ho in this one specifically, because those 2 albums I used to DJ out with, and they're really good. Like, if you're gonna play like a 4 or 5 hour set, and you kind of don't want to come in, obviously, if you're playing like, I think sometimes when I would play at a lounge or a restaurant, I'd come in there like 7 and play to like 11 or 12, and you're not going to come in like 7 p.m. and start playing progressive house or techno or even house music, really. So you kind of what I used to do was I used to play a little trip hop, a little urban beats, a little kind of avant-garde stuff, kind of get people like comfortable, and kind of, if they were music, they were really into music, I would like make sure that the first hour or 2 were very eclectic, so they would be like, okay, this guy knows some good music. Like, you kind of have to, the first hour or 2, especially if you're going to play a long set, is like really important to kind of like earn people's trust when you DJ. And if you don't have that much time, if you're at a club, sometimes you don't have that much time. You have like a couple songs to kind of win a crowd over. You could lose a crowd really quick if playing the wrong song. So it's very stressful. And that's why I like playing more of the lounge stuff, because they can't throw me off. No, I'm just kidding. But it's just more relaxing, and I like to play more eclectic music and different music, and I get bored of playing one style of music for very long. So, playing stuff like Wagon Christ in the first hour, and, I used to play like Massive Attack and Hooter and Dorfmeister and Pork recordings like Fila Brasilia and, into some odd, kind of avant-garde new wave stuff and yeah, dub stuff and a little bit of urban like reggae and, all kinds of stuff. And that's the kind of great thing about when you DJ with like the first hour or two or at lounges and restaurants and things like that is you can play such a wide variety of music while people are chilling out, and that's my vibe. So getting back to the album, I got a lot of great memories with this album. I think overall, kind of going back and forth on this a little bit, it's definitely in the very good range, so it's in between 70 and 79. Um, when I look at the track, there's only one track that's a 4, so that's kind of pulling it down for me. 4 tracks that are in the 2s and 8 in the middle, so it's definitely in the very good range. But I feel like with 4 tracks in the 2s and only 1 in the 4s, and it's a low 4. Again, if I was to rank my top 20 Luke Vibert tracks, I'm not sure even one track would make it in here, because that's how much, I do have a lot of his music, and I don't think one of these songs would necessarily make maybe the one that's with 4 stars might make the top 20, but that's so much, he has a lot of stuff. So if I was to compare, and saying that, it kind of makes me pull the rating down into the lower 70s. So I got the album rating at 72 out of 100. So still in the very good range, still a very good album, a lot of memories with it. Good production, good dynamics, solid mastering. Nothing's out of the ordinary. I like the artwork. Again, a lot of creative sampling, beat making, unique melodies. Like, that's Luke Vibert style. Like, he always impresses me. It's always great to hear a new album of his, because you're going to get something creative. And there's not too many people that are out there that I can say that about, that I always look forward to every album. Like, wow, it's a new Luke Vibert album. Like, this is going to be creative. This is going to be wow. This is going to be. And really, the really cool thing about it too is, and him in general is, I'm if I was to rank my favorite styles of music, right, and this is just randomly, maybe in my top 10, right? So I'd probably put techno in there, and these are in no order: techno, electro, early trance, ambient, industrial, new wave, dub, and that probably incorporates dub reggae and dub techno, just to not sound like doing subgenres like crazy. Drum and bass, down tempo. There's a lot of different ambient things I could put as 10, like field recordings, drone, chill out. Like, there's a lot I could put there, but and then house music, deep house is in there. So that's 10 styles that I just mentioned, and I'm not even like going into depth with a lot of other styles, but like, here's down tempo, and I like jungle in there too, and somebody has this as left field, and I don't, left field's always an interesting term, because it's kind of like a hodgepodge of everything that they can't put into a subgenre, and I don't like that. Some people would say this is IDM, but I think of IDM like as skittery beats, and I don't necessarily think of IDM as urban style music, like, that has breaks and break beats and stuff like that. There's a couple of other genres that I like breaks and break beats. Hip hop and new wave, and I like so many different styles: cold wave, dark wave, synth pop, synth wave. So there's so many styles I like, and what I was kind of getting to is, this isn't necessarily maybe in my top 10 or 15. Down tempo is probably in the top 15, but that this is an album that's not in my top 10 or 15 probably favorite subgenres of electronic music. And I still look forward to when he puts out an album and it's like, wow, it's going to be really creative. And that's how much I respect him as an artist, and I look forward to his music. And that's how talented I think he is. That it's not necessarily one of my favorite genres, but he just wins you over. He's just so creative. He's just very talented. And I feel a little bad putting this as 72 out of 100, but I mean, I probably have 15 or 17 of his records. You know, I have all 700 Wagon Christ. There's 3 Carrier Districts. There's 2 Plug albums, and there's probably about 10 under his own name, under Luke Vibert. And I feel like and there's a couple other names he's recorded under as well, but nothing that has like multiple albums. If I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I mean, so I probably have close to 20 of his releases. You know, there's a few collaborations he's done on Reflex Records as well with Simmons. There's two releases he did with that guy too. So yeah, I mean, he's just all over the board, and every genre he touches is really great. But yeah, I could ramble all day about his talent, but I don't want to hold the video up any longer. So I appreciate you guys watching the video. Hopefully, this was an entertaining review for you, and hopefully it gets you interested in listening to his music. So, you know, check out Wagon Christ Musipal and tell me what you think if you don't know it. Again, it was on 2001. This is the artwork, Musipal. Check it out and see what you think. Especially if you like hip hop and stuff like that, and you don't really know too much about electron music, I think you'll really like it. I think you'll be entertained by it a lot. And it's just if you curious if you know Luke Vibert or any of his styles, do you have a favorite 3 records by him? And do you have a favorite song on Musipal? If you got a chance to hear it or you know it, I'd be curious. I know it's not the most popular record, but it's what I picked out of my collection today, so it's what I listened to, and it happened to be what I reviewed. But, you know, I enjoy it, and I always enjoy listening to Luke Vibert stuff. So, sorry I'm a little tired today. It's almost 10 o'clock here, and been a long day, but I wanted to get one review out today. So I appreciate you guys sticking around. Kind of long video, sorry. All my videos are long. I apologize. So have a good day, and thanks for watching. Take care.